and welcome to Why Psychiatry, where we hear from our NEI Max faculty about their personal path to psychiatry. I'm your host, Dr. Debbie Ann Morissette. I am Director of Content Live Events at the Neuroscience Education Institute. And today we will be meeting with Dr. Manpreet Singh. Welcome, Dr. Singh.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
I'm glad to have you here, and I'm so excited to have you joining us today, and I can't wait to hear you speak at our pre-conference, the Child and Adolescent Psychiatry. It's going to be fantastic. I've heard you speak before, and I think our audience is in for a real treat when they come see you. But we are here today to get to know you a little bit better. And on that note, can you tell us a little bit about your personal path to psychiatry and essentially why psychiatry?
I'd love to. It's a very interesting path, as I'm sure it is for most people. The journey to a career in psychiatry is always interesting, and oftentimes the stories that lead us to this important field are the ones that drive our work and provide it with meaning. My sister is the start of my story. My sister is about 4 years younger than me, and she was born the same year that my family immigrated to Canada, to North America from India. And she was born with a hole in her heart and Down syndrome. And so she was going to have a life of developmental delays and very complex cardiac problems. I actually wrote about it recently in the Journal of the American Medical Association, and I hope you'll check out that article. It's called Cultivating Hope. And it details in there why I chose psychiatry ultimately, because my sister, her doctors, when she was growing up, would always say that she was going to die at some imminent time point. And our family got pretty frustrated with hearing that prognosis when she was actually outliving all of those predictions. And so after a while, we just stopped listening to the doctors. And I vowed when I went to medical school that I would be the kind of doctor that instills hope in patients and families that I work with. It felt to me very important. And eventually, in my fourth year of medical school, I came across psychiatry for the first time as a student, and met my first patient with acute onset of schizophrenia. And I was so fascinated by how the mind works and how much we don't know yet about how the mind works, and how to effectively help patients like him and others. So when I was in my fourth year rotation, or end of my third year rotation in psychiatry, I fell in love with the idea of being able to chart a path in an area of medicine that was still very, very ripe for discovery. And it gave me an opportunity immediately to instill hope, particularly with patients who had lost hope. And so eventually my specialty area became hopelessness, really, depression and related mood disorders, because I wanted to work directly with patients who struggled to cultivate hope. And though I'm not sure that I've really lived up to my now inherited name of becoming a hope doctor, but certainly over time, I felt more and more capacity to reach patients, particularly in moments of despair. And that's always something that I think is a lifelong instrument to hone and skill to hone. So I've been very lucky and blessed. I feel very, very glad to be in this field, and honored to have the opportunity to work with patients and families, and to also hopefully advance the science of hopelessness, so that we can reach more patients and arrive at better solutions to these problems.
That is, what a beautiful story. I mean, that is just wonderful, and wow. So kudos to you. I mean, it's really a beautiful start to it, and an incredible reason to get into the field. So thank you for sharing that. And I did have, on a lighter note, I guess, I had another question for you. There's a note in your bio that says that you teach Indian classical music, and I'm kind of intrigued about that. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure. Music was something I discovered very early in my childhood as a solution to all of life's problems. I think that it gives you an opportunity to be creative, to let loose, to relax, to have fun, to communicate and express yourself. So in Indian classical music, the way you can actually evoke feeling is through music, through a system. So in Western music, oftentimes we refer to scales. Well, if you put a combination of notes together, certain unique combinations form a scale of sorts, and then you can compose within those combinations of notes, and those are called ragas. So raga actually means mood. And so the implication is that you can actually evoke a mood through a certain combination of notes. And so I was, I signed on immediately as soon as I learned that concept, and thought it was a great way to express emotion and communicate emotion with others. And so once I had developed some skills, I shared those with others in summer camps and things like that. And then I started to teach. And when I went to medical school, the time became a little bit limited to be able to provide that kind of teaching. I gave vocal lessons and would also teach drumming, Indian drumming. And so now, I'm trying to teach my kids at home, but the most important way that I actually exercise this passion is I get to judge music competitions, and I do it on an international scale now. So it's kind of like I get to be Paula Abdul for kids who pour their hearts out through classical Indian instruments and vocals, and I get to gush about how awesome they are and how skilled they are and how wonderful the whole experience is for them, because it paves a path for them to have an outlet for their emotions. So it serves multiple roles, but I'm usually the judge that's very much like Paula Abdul. I tend to gush more than I do critique.
I could definitely see that about you. From what I do know about you and our interactions together, I can see you would be the kind, gentle, supportive, uplifting judge in any kind of a competition, especially one involving children. So that sounds like a lot of fun, and I hope that with everything going on, that you're still able to engage in that.
I think kindness is part of our resilience as a society, and we need it now more than ever. And so it's hard. It's not easy to be kind, especially in severely conflictual or possibly austere situations. Like a competition is supposed to be so serious, but at the end of the day, what's the goal? The goal is to inspire and to cultivate skills and help people be better and engage with feedback in a way that's helpful for their growth. So I hope that, humbly, that I'm able to model that for others, but it's fun because while I'm gushing publicly, we have these debates behind the scenes about who actually should win, and it's like everybody's a winner. So I think all voices are important there, but for sure now more than ever, cultivating kindness is very important.
I love that idea. So thank you very much for joining us and sharing your beautiful story and telling us why psychiatry for you. I cannot wait to see you in November. I think you're just going to be a fantastic addition to our incredible faculty lineup. And you'll be speaking on both bipolar depression and ADHD in the pediatric population. And I think it's going to be something wonderful for our audience.